So we're going to try to show here briefly how to brew a good cup of coffee. So we start with our Hario filter holder with a good quality filter, should have no smell. So first thing I do is I preheat it. So I will pour some hot water. So I'm preheating the filter and our carafe at the same time. So it's preheated. Then we get our fresh ground coffee. So I'm going to have to go back here and grind the coffee very fast. I guess you all heard the coffee being ground. So here it is. I'm going to pour this coffee in here, and then you can enjoy. It smells so good. Okay, so I'm going to use a timer here. This timer is set for 4 minutes. 4 minutes is an average time, very good. Something in between 3 and 4 minutes is good. So I will start very slowly pouring the hot water on the coffee. You can notice on this first water that I pour, the coffee is doing what we call blooming. So you can see the coffee is absorbing this water and it's releasing some gas. You can see the coffee is blooming. It's so beautiful to see this. Now when I pour the second water, you can see this lots of bubbles coming out. This, and I like to show this because this only happens if your coffee is fresh. If your coffee is stale, it will just sit there on the bottom and nothing is going to happen. So here I put 40 grams of coffee. These 40 grams of coffee are enough for 600 ml of brewed coffee. So for these 40 grams of coffee, I'm going to add 640 grams of water. That's why I'm using a scale here. Just because the 40 grams of coffee holds 40 grams of water that doesn't go through. So I add the 600 that I want to go through plus the 40 that will remain here. So you see now I'm just pouring the water slowly. In the beginning we go slower so that the coffee can absorb the water, can start to release whatever it has to release. And after I get to 1.5 to 2 minutes, then I start to put a little bit more speed. Now notice that this filter here is full, but this is because I'm brewing 2 cups. If I was brewing only 1 cup, I could never fill it this much because then I would go through it in less than the 4 minutes we want. So I'm here reading my scale to see how much water I'm pouring. So we want to pour the last water when we still have at least 1 minute to go, because we want this last 1 minute for the water to finish going through. So I'm here looking at my timer and pouring the water. So I use, some people like to use a spoon to mix. I don't think it's necessary because as I am pouring, I am already mixing it. And one thing very important here, we are not using boiling water. Lots of people think of boiling water to brew coffee. That's not good. That's not good. If you use boiling water, you're going to have over extraction. There are 2 ways you can get over extraction, and you want to avoid that. Okay, so let me just show now. I already have now the 640 mils, and now I have 1 minute to go, which is going to be enough for it to finish brewing. Now there are 2 ways you could get over extraction. Would be by using water too hot or above 90 degrees, or if you take too long. So that's why we want to finish our brew in less than 4 minutes or 4 minutes. If you go above 4 minutes, like if you keep on pouring water, that's when you start to over extract. This means you're extracting the bitter part of the coffee. I guess no one wants to extract the bitter part of the coffee. So that's why I recommend water below boiling. If your water gets to boil, you should wait some minutes until it cools down. The best is if you have a kettle with a thermometer and it stops at 90 degrees. So here we are, the coffee is almost finishing to brew. We use this very cheap equipment. People ask me, okay, my timer is beeping, this is 4 minutes now. So some people ask me if you need expensive equipment to make good coffee. I say you only need a cone and a paper filter. Good quality paper filter should never smell. It's just odorless. Otherwise you will have that smell in your coffee. I tend to use brown paper filter, so I know no one used bleach here to whiten this filter. Well, okay, so now coffee is ready. We just have to pour it, serve to the friends, because it's always good to have coffee with friends, and enjoy it. Smells good. Cheers.